My name's Lauren Cattaneo. I am a faculty member in the psychology department, and I'm honored to be representing the Curriculum and Pedagogy Committee this afternoon. Shout out to my co-chair, Tehema Lopez Bunyasi, and our wonderful committee members. Our committee has been mindful in our work that Mason, as a public institution, has a particular obligation to contribute to the public good, both in general and in specific in our state and in our surrounding communities. This idea is already articulated for us in many places in Mason's materials where we talk about who we are. So for example, in our catalog, the Mason graduate is described as an engaged citizen who is committed to building a just society. So in thinking about what anti-racist and inclusive curriculum and pedagogy looks like, we can think about both how curriculum and pedagogy facilitate an inclusive climate here on campus and how it can facilitate students' contributions to building a just society outside these walls. We're also mindful, as has come up in other committees, that there have been many bubbling efforts at Mason in these areas for a long time. And so some of our suggestions build on things that have already been at work at Mason, and other suggestions are newer. So with that said, here are our recommendations. Our first recommendation is to implement a foundational course titled Foundations for Building a Just Society. And a little context here. So students have been asking for years for a course that would be required of all undergraduates that would ensure that all students have foundational knowledge, awareness, and skills related to anti-racism and inclusion. And students have organized in many ways and made these requests of us, both in response to events happening in the world around us and to their experiences on campus, as we've already heard this afternoon. There's been a fair amount of work completed on this already. So there was a year-long process of a cross-university working group developing this class. There was a year-long process of a faculty fellow piloting and evaluating a section of the course. There was a semester of student input revising that course. And most recently, I am pleased to report that the course has been approved as meeting 2 Mason core outcomes. So what we are recommending at this point is that we scale up. One example action here is to support a faculty leadership team who would collaborate to refine the piloted and core approved course, offer multiple sections of it in the fall, and then begin to create training and development materials to support the next group of faculty who would teach the course. Our second recommendation goes beyond foundations. So clearly one course is not enough. And our second recommendation suggests that we expand our curriculum and pedagogy through a number of different avenues. And in this work, we are suggesting that we build the capacity of the Stern Center, which is already collaborating with our QEP team on anti-racist community engagement, that their capacity to coordinate and lead be strengthened. And an example action that comes from student suggestions that the Stern Center could spearhead would be curriculum review. So in order to ensure that students have access to coursework related to anti-racism and inclusion across the university, we would conduct course catalog reviews, ensuring that programs have at least one course or section that addresses these issues, making a list of those courses accessible to students, and then identifying holes in the curriculum in that way that the Stern Center could then support faculty in filling. Our third recommendation acknowledges that we are asking a lot of ourselves and each other here, and so we need to have ways of providing incentives and support to make these efforts sustainable. We have a number of different ideas here, which you can access on the website. One example that we have here is to create a mini grant program. This would support innovation and collaboration among faculty. And a particular idea I want to highlight here is the development of interdisciplinary capstones. So one can imagine a capstone course that could examine, for example, how the physical design of residential spaces influences access to community and to resources. These issues are as applicable in the social sciences as they are in the humanities, as they are in the STEM fields, and we want to support faculty in collaborating to find those connections with students across disciplines. So in conclusion, we are recommending we provide foundations, we build on them, and we make that work sustainable across the university. And we look forward to working to move these recommendations forward and hear from the community about their ideas as well. That concludes our presentation.